Hey everyone, welcome to part 2 of Vacation VHS Haul. And these tapes in this part are all creature features. Without further ado, let's get to it. First tape that we have is Shrieker.
50 years ago, something happened here. 7 people were killed by something.
This is rated R. It came out in 1997 from Full Moon Pictures. Shrieker, if you hear it, it's too late. It strikes without warning. It can morph through walls, ceilings, floors. There is no place to hide. Behind every corner lies a potential doorway to death. After 50 years, the Shrieker has been summoned again. 5 will die tonight. The 6th will become its master. When you hear the sound of its voice, your time has come. I don't really recognize any of the names of these actors. Tanya Dempsey, Jamie Gannon, Perry Allen, Allison Cuff, Roger Crowe, Chris Boyd, Jenya Lano, Jason Shane Scott, Brandon Gould, Rick Buono. No clue. No fucking clue. IMDb has a little bit better plot description than the back of this VHS because this is pretty damn vague. On here it says, a young mathematics major at university thinks she's found the best deal for student housing. A group of squatters who live in an abandoned hospital secretly. The quirky residents let her into their community provided she follow the rules, including not telling anyone about her living arrangements. All seems wonderful until she discovers that the reason that the hospital was abandoned was a series of murders in the 1940s by a strange, shrieking killer who was never captured. And the discovery that someone who's living in the hospital is using occult means to bring back the Shrieker, a demonic force summoned and controlled by a human who knows the proper procedure. When strange occult circles are discovered, Clark finds herself the main suspect because she is the newest resident. This is a really shitty description. It's written so terribly. It says written by Gary Dickerson. It's terrible. It doesn't even make sense. This is interesting. On the box, it says directed by Victoria Sloan, but on IMDb it says David Dakota as Victoria Sloan. Oh, David Dakota, I know who you are. I know who you are, David Dakota. And yes, there are a couple shirtless men on the back of this. One's throwing a football around, the other one is looking at something. So yeah, I'm expecting this to be very vapid and not much substance. Shrieker.
Shrieker. If you hear it, it's too late.
Up next, we have Skeeter.
What the hell is that? Well, what is that?
Get in the car!
Earth is the final breeding ground. Came out in 1994. Stars Tracy Griffith, Jim Youngs, Charles Napier, Michael J. Pollard, and it's directed by Clark Brandon. Back of the box says, toxic waste turns a stagnant pool of water into a breeding ground of terror. The result is a new species of mosquito, making this sci-fi thriller an unforgettable, spine-tingling and stinging experience. In the small desert town of Mesquite, Sarah Crosby and her boyfriend are the first to discover the horrifying truth that the invasion has begun and Earth is the final battleground. I thought Earth was the final breeding ground.
Get out!
Roy, let me help you! Roy!
Get out!
Tracy Griffith from The First Power, The Finest Hour, Charles Napier from Philadelphia and the Silence of the Lambs, Michael J. Pollard from Split Second and Next of Kin, and Jim Youngs from Wise Guy and Youngblood star in this frightening tale of nature's final evolution. Do they even have mosquitoes in the desert? There's plenty of pictures on the back here. We've got gun, cops, fire, flamethrower. That's always fun. And a big giant rubber mosquito attacking a guy's face. So can't wait to see that. Skeeter.
Skeeter.
Up next, I'd seen clips of this film online, but I have not seen it, so I'm very excited to check it out. And that is the Zanuck Brown production starring Strother Martin and Dirk Benedict. Came out in 1973, and this film is called
Once this motion picture sinks its fangs into you, you'll never be the same.
I think I got all the S's. Strother Martin and Dirk Benedict star in this eerie tale of a respected ophiologist, a snake expert, who masks a frightening desire to transmute a man into a king cobra. Realizing that his new lab assistant, David, played by Benedict, is the perfect specimen, the demented doctor begins administering to him injections of immunization serum. Soon, David begins experiencing strange and disturbing side effects. His skin is shedding while his body shape is changing, but before he realizes the horrible truth, the metamorphosis from human to serpent has begun. The same team responsible for Planet of the Apes created the outstanding makeup and technology, including the 5 stages of makeup applied to Benedict. To recruit its large cast of venomous co-stars, Universal held an open audition for talented pet snakes with aspirations of movie stardom. It really says this on the box. I'm not making this up. Aspirations of movie stardom. It's this amazing blend of realism and fantasy that makes a science fiction classic you don't want to miss. Who came up with this title?
Touch your skin. It's scaled. Look for your legs. They're gone. Feel your body. It's cold.
Oh my god. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 S's. Jesus. So if you're gonna search for it online, you use 7 S's. Not 6, not 8, 7. Good lord. This is like the snake version of Roar. The poisonous snakes were not defanged during production. 5 king cobras were imported from Thailand for this feature, ranging from 10 to 15 feet in length. Fuck that. They had been recently caught in the wild and were in good health with full venom capabilities. The snake park milking scenes were real and meant to mimic what Bill Hass did at his Serpentarium in Florida daily. About 1 ounce of venom was collected during each take with no harm to the snakes. A different cobra was used for each take. The filming of this took most of the day, as the cobras spent most of their time trying to escape the fence enclosure rather than raising up in the traditional cobra attack mode. Yikes. Amongst the 100 snakes used were rattlesnakes, boa constrictors, pythons, king cobra, blue racers, hognose snakes, and 2-headed Florida pine snakes. Oh, it's the film debut of Red Brown. That's interesting. The film was originally titled Snake, but the distributors had the title changed to the now famous to keep the film more mysterious for moviegoers. And surprisingly, this movie's rated PG. Good lord. I don't know if I even want to watch this. I fucking hate snakes. From them, there is no escape.
The most unusual horror film ever made. See it.
Oh, up next we definitely have a classic. And that classic is c.h.u.d.
They're coming up.
Stars John Hurd, Daniel Stern, and Christopher Curry. In the dank, putrid labyrinth of tunnels beneath the streets of New York City, a hideous transformation is taking place. An underground ragtag colony of homeless derelicts is turning into a voracious tribe of grotesque mutants. They are turning into c.h.u.d, cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers, who ooze up from their hellish depths after dark for the only food that satisfies their hunger: human flesh. John Hurd from Cat People and Daniel Stern from Breaking Away and Diner accidentally learn of the government's covert subterranean dumping site of radioactive waste that is mutating the underground vagrants. Together with a Manhattan police captain, they attempt to unravel the government cover-up and to stop the carnivorous slaughter. But they haven't got much time. Soon it will be dark on the streets of the city. Soon it will be feeding time. This is only 88 minutes long. They're not staying down there any longer. This came out in 1984, directed by Douglas Cheek. It's been quite a while since I've watched this. I need to revisit it. But yeah, Jordan Peele said that this movie was partially inspirational for his latest release, Us. And there have been a few sequels. And this is also another fold-out box, which I love. This is an old rental tape. Yeah, this is a must-see for any horror fan. So if you have not experienced c.h.u.d, make sure you watch it. I definitely can't wait to pop it in the VCR and revisit it after all these years. c.h.u.d.
c.h.u.d. Cannibalistic, humanoid, underground dwellers.
Up next, we have a very interesting VHS. Jim McCullough's Creature from the Black Lake. I've never heard of this before. A bizarre creature leaves a trail of terror in the Louisiana backwoods. This is written by Jim McCullough, produced by Jim McCullough, a Jim McCullough production. Came out in 1976, and there's some pictures on the back, but they're like illustrated over, so it's kind of hard to tell. But the back reads, "A bizarre creature stalks the Louisiana backwoods, leaving a trail of terror and devastation behind it." Joe Canton, played by Jack Elam, is a tough Louisiana trapper who has made a living from the Black Lake swamps for 40 years. When his trapping partner, Old Willie, mysteriously disappears during one of their hunts, two anthropology students step in to help unravel the mystery. Loaded with camping equipment and cameras of all kinds, the students, Reeves, played by Dennis Fimple, and Pahoo, played by John David Carson, find a bit more than they bargained for in this Louisiana town. After spending countless hours chasing clues and listening to the bizarre tales of the locals, the two men feel they are closing in on the creature and prepare for a confrontation. Preparations are completed and bridges are burned. I don't know if they mean that literally or figuratively. The confrontation finally occurs, but it doesn't happen as expected. Some piece of scientific data is overlooked. Oh no! Some camera is not loaded properly. The imagination runs wild as the brutal reality of the creature from the Black Lake takes hold. This description is really weird. Some camera is not loaded properly? What? Okay.
Do you really believe there's a creature?
Mm-hmm.
It's 97 minutes. And I cannot wait to check this out because it just sounds bonkers. Creature from the Black Lake.
The Creature from Black Lake is coming to a theater near you. A Jim McCullough production, rated PG.
Last but not least, I'm very excited to talk about this one. I have not seen it, but I've heard many interesting things about it. And that is Larry Clark's Teenage Caveman.
What is this place?
It used to be a biotech research complex. Now it's our home.
It stars Andrew Keegan and Tara Subkoff. And the guy on the front looks very interesting. He looks like a mix of Wolfman and Quasimodo. And it says, the future sucks.
You shouldn't wander around alone.
This is rated R. Back of the box says, Teenage Caveman is a stylishly radical sci-fi thriller starring an impressive cast of up-and-coming actors, including Andrew Keegan from O, The Broken Hearts Club, a romantic comedy, Tara Subkoff from The Cell and the Last Days of Disco, and Richard Hillman from Detroit Rock City and Bring It On. Controversial director Larry Clark, he directed Kids and Bully, and writer Christos Gage, who wrote The Breed, take the horror genre to brave new places with this very original film featuring terrifying special effects. Get ready for a wild and unconventional ride into a prehistoric future that you'll never forget. David, played by Keegan, is frustrated with the repressive laws of his cave-dwelling tribe. Restless, stubborn, and defiant, his attitude problem turns deadly when he is forced to kill the tribe leader, his father, to protect his girlfriend. Now banished to the dangerous and unexplored zone outside their cave, he and 5 of his teenage friends quickly discover that the old world they only dreamed about has evolved without them into a complex, seductive, and ultimately terrifying nightmare beyond their wildest imaginations. This is a Colleen Camp production. Did she produce this? Yeah, Colleen Camp was a producer. She was Yvette in Clue. Stan Winston Studio did the creature effects. So that's very interesting.
Stop! I had sex with him! I'm gonna die!
So yeah, from what I've heard about this film, it's got a lot of boobs. It's very, very early 2000s. And yeah, I'm very excited to pop this in the VCR and check it out. Teenage Caveman.
Whatever's in him, it's in me too.
Teenage Caveman.
Well, that's gonna do it for part 2 of this vacation VHS haul. Stay tuned for part 3, which is going to be just horror films. So that's gonna do it for this video. Until next time, this is Lindsay signing off. I'll check you later.